Welcome to Women Awakening. I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time. Welcome to Women Awakening. I'm so grateful to be here with Arielle Ford. She is our love expert, and every time we talk, I have healings. And so today we are going to talk about when are you ready for love? So welcome, Arielle.
Thank you, Cynthia.
So when are we ready for love? I mean, is there something we all need to do to get there?
I don't think there's a lot you need to do to get there, but here's when you're ready. So the number one predictor of being ready for love is having the desire. When your soul is calling to bring forth what I call a soulmate life partner, because I believe we have lots of kinds of soulmates in our life, but what we really want is somebody who has the capacity to be our life partner, somebody with whom we have chemistry, connection, compatibility, communication, which can be learned, and most importantly, a shared vision for the future. Okay, so that's the kind of soulmate that we're talking about here. So if your soul is calling for that, if you have the deep desire for that, that's a pretty big signal that you're ready for it. Deepak Chopra always says that the seeds of our desire are proof for the fulfillment of our desire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you have that desire, that's a good sign. Now, what other factors come into it? The second most important factor is, do you have time? If you're a single mother with 3 kids and aging parents and 2 jobs, you don't have time. There's not enough time in the world because relationships take time, and you have bigger responsibilities. So if you can see that you don't have time, then take the pressure off yourself. And maybe all you really need in this time of so much responsibility is what a friend of mine used to call a comforter. Or in modern tech days, they might call it a friend with benefits. Maybe that's all you really have time for. And then the third part of it is there's this whole giant conversation in our space about self-love. Like, you've really got to be in love with yourself before you're worthy or deserving of love. And I don't believe that at all. I think as long as you're not in the space of total self-hate and self-loathing, I believe most of us could do better in the self-love department. We've got the critical voices in our head and we beat ourselves up. The truth is that when you're with your soulmate life partner and you see the love in their eyes for you, you automatically start loving yourself even more. There's nothing more healing in the self-love space than to be loved by another. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing to look at.
Yeah, so I want to talk about you because, clearly you've manifested this soulmate that you just described. And what was happening in your life when you got really clear about this desire and being open to it and creating time?
Okay, so there were a couple of pieces to it. So early on, I was doing what I would call spiritual therapy with somebody. And he introduced me to mirror work, which I'd never heard of. Of course, Louise Hay's brilliant work. And I remember the first time he sat me in front of a mirror and said to me, I want you to look into your own eyes and say, I love you. And I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And I was crying and I was miserable. And I can't say it because it's not true. And he was like, well, how do you know it's not true? You've never tried it. But after doing it a couple of times, and I even did it with Louise Hay at her house in Santa Monica at one time, it can be true. It's just that I had this whole thought that I wasn't lovable. And as you know, most of the thoughts that we have, we don't need to believe because they aren't true. And then the second piece of it was that when I had this calling, when I had this deep desire to manifest a soulmate, I made the time for it. I decided I'd been practicing law of attraction and manifestation for many years by that time, knew I was a good manifester, and then decided to get really clear about what I most wanted. And I always like to say manifesting the soulmate is the easiest part. It's so easy when you compare it to how hard it is to learn how to live with your soulmate. Right?
Right.
So your job when you're manifesting your soulmate is to be really clear about the heart traits and qualities you most need. And your initial list is going to be different from what you need. You're going to think, oh, I want somebody who looks a certain way and makes a certain amount of money and likes to do all the same hobbies I like to do, some of which could contribute to your long-term happiness, but that's not really what you need. You know, what you need is the perfect partner for you. Now, they won't be perfect. They're going to be far from perfect, but they will be perfect for you. You know, so in my case, I needed somebody who was really generous. Not so much with their money. I was making decent money on my own. Generous with their love, attention, affection, appreciation, all of that. That's what I most needed. And that's what I wasn't getting when I was busy dating all the captains of the universe that I thought I deserved and needed, because I was this super powerhouse and maybe I needed a powerhouse. And the truth is, you can't have two rock stars in one relationship, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got to be the giver and somebody's always the taker, you know? So I needed a giver. And I was clear about that. And you know, the longer we're together, the more I appreciate these amazing qualities that he has. So choosing correctly is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get the soulmate, then we could do 10 hours on that.
Right.
On what
Well,
it takes to live through that.
You know, it's really interesting that you say that, because I wasn't as conscious as you, but I was aware that there was a part of me that wanted my partner to recognize me, to get who I was from the beginning. And that was Carl. I mean, he saw me, and in moments, even when we were even first dating and I would have like doubts about something or another, he'd go, oh no, you know, you can do that because look at you, and you're doing this and you're doing that. And he would reflect back to me even the places that I wasn't able to see yet.
Yes.
And so I love that. I mean, I wish I had been as clear as you, but it worked anyhow.
It worked anyway. And the truth is, all the soulmate couples I know and I've interviewed, including you and Carl, that is one of the things they love most about their partner, that they're being seen and heard and met at a certain level, and that this person is their biggest cheerleader and their biggest fan and their safe place to land, you know? And so that's why I'm saying you don't have to come into it with this like ridiculous amount of self-love. You know, you need to show up authentically as you, be open and vulnerable, because the truth is, none of us want to be with a perfect person. We would so resent somebody who is perfect all the time. It sounds like a good thing. Well, I could make you perfect if only you would change this, that, and the other thing. But we wouldn't be happy. You know, we're flawed human beings. And, you know, when you're with your soulmate, they love your flaws as much as your good qualities. They accept you for who you are. And I believe as human beings, we know that safety and security is a basic, huge need, but so is acceptance. You know, we want to be loved for who we are on our good days and our bad days, when we look hot and we look like hell, you know, when we're being a total bitch and when we're being sweet and kind. We want somebody who's just going to love all of us.
Absolutely. So if you were going to say one thing for women about being ready, what is the one statement that you would tell them?
I would say that if you do have this deep desire and you're ready to make it your number one priority, because it takes time and effort. Dating, you know, for most people, it's not going to be instant. You're not going to look in their eyes across a crowded room and go, oh, you, and they're going to go, oh, you, and you live happily ever after. That doesn't happen. Okay, so if you're willing to commit the time and the energy and the money, because there's money involved. You know, you need to have a dating wardrobe, right?
Mhm.
There's some fees on dating apps. You might want to hire a dating coach. You know, if you make that investment in your business, I know all of your women are
Mhm.
really ready to make them when it comes to their career, they'll invest tens of thousands of dollars. But
Right.
they won't spend $49 a month for the premium membership on a great dating app. What's that about? Right? So it's a time and energy investment as well, because a lot of the women who consider themselves spiritual are the biggest problem for me when I'm coaching. Really the biggest problem, because they want everything to happen organically.
Mhm.
Okay. And it doesn't happen organically. Just like if you're looking for new clients or you're looking to grow your business, you don't sit home on the couch watching reality TV thinking, well, if it's meant to be for my business to be successful, it will just happen. And yet that's how they treat their love life.
Right.
And I'm saying you've got to make your love life your number one priority and treat it like a business.
Mm.
Obviously, it's a business with more glamour, heart, and soul and fun. But
Right.
you know, you have to approach it the same way. You have to have a plan.
Right.
That's my number one thing. You got to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, it's never going to happen.
So, ladies, I hope you're listening here, um, because you have to have the desire, you have to have a plan, and you have to put time and energy into it. I
And
hope you're taking notes.
I'll tell them a good place to start. So Claire Zamet and I have a 75-minute free webinar called the 6 Love Codes, where
Mhm.
we outline the 6 areas of your life that you really need to get fluent in to manifest the love of your life. It's totally free. And you can just go to soulmatepassion44.com, soulmatepassion44.com, and sign up for it. And that's all there. And just start there. Dedicate 75 minutes to finding out what you don't know that you don't know about getting back in the dating pool and manifesting love.
Love it. I hope you wrote that down, ladies. And Arielle, how can people find you online?
I'm so easy. Soulmatesecret.com. Soulmatesecret.com is where you find me. And if you go over there, there's a tab called Free Stuff. Go get all the free stuff.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you. You are so wise, and I learn from you every time, and I'm very grateful that you're our expert.
Oh, thank you. It's always fun to be with you. Love you.
Love you too. All right, ladies, it's time to wake up. It's time to bring your gifts to the planet. It's time to transform so that you can be a beneficial presence in ways you can't even imagine in this moment. We'll see you next time.